Panama City Beach has been known for a long time for affordable condos, great rental rates. But with the housing shortage moving onto the beach and prices increasing, is owning a condo in Panama City Beach in 2022 still a good idea? My name is Eric Leitten. I'm a real estate agent on the beautiful Emerald Coast. I cover from Panama City Beach all the way to Okaloosa Island in Fort Walton Beach. I specialize in resort real estate, namely short-term rental investments for buyers coming into our market. I personally own a condo in Panama City Beach. I have family that owns a condo right next to me at Leitten Wharf. Leitten's a 780 unit development, roughly 780 unit. And so I have I have some perspective both as an owner and as an agent working in our area. I've been around for about 20 years here, was stationed here at Eglin Air Force Base, by the way, from Buffalo, New York. And but today I wanted to discuss kind of the pros and cons of purchasing a condo in Panama City Beach in the year 2022. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Well, we're going to talk about the pros and cons. So the first con that I want to talk about is the inflationary pressure right now and how it affects condo ownership. So just a quick example, obviously we're seeing labor shortages across the board. So for example, at Leitten Wharf, we have security around the clock. They greet you at the gate. We also have a patrol, which is much needed in a building that size. This year, we've had to increase their hourly wage substantially for the fact they could go work in fast food for more than what they were making being a security guard. Not always the easiest job. Sometimes you see people at their worst. It's not an easy job. So we had to increase their hourly wage, and our dues went up with that. Now, kind of looking at in the scope of buying a condo, I think moving forward, we're going to see inflationary pressure on the HOAs. I think or COAs, I should say. COAs, Condo Owners Association. I think you're going to kind of see associations that are a little bit more disorganized, exposed, having to do larger increases. There's HOAs that are more organized, more prepared. They're going to be a little bit more stable. And then also consider, the price of utilities, the price of water, especially in a condo that has 5 pools like Leitten. There's a lot of infrastructure. There's a lot of things that need to be maintained there. So that's a consideration. So I would look at, the health of the HOA, the reserves, how much the increases have been over from 21 to 2022. Talk with your agent, review that budget for the year, and, see what you can find out. The numbers will tell a story. All right, con number 2, more oversight on condos. And this is due to the Surfside collapse in South Florida. There was a lot of deferred maintenance stacked on top of, maintenance, deferred maintenance. And at the point something tragic happens, the government is stepping in. They're making more stringent reserve requirements, more stringent inspection criteria for the COA to set forth with the reserve studies that go through. They want to make sure the components and the deferred maintenance is being kept up with, and they don't want to see Surfside Part 2 happen. They want to make sure these large buildings are being taken care of and people are safe that stay there. All right, the third con is what I call, it's kind of a different one. It's more of a perspective thing. So a lot of people come down here, they want to be directly on the sand. They want to be in a great building, newer building, and perfect views of the Gulf. I would say that the shortage is definitely around that area in the buildings that are well maintained, that have good management in place, that have a good reputation. There's multiple offers, same as the housing market. So it's really hard to nudge your way in to capture a condo that fits all those specifications. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's a little bit more difficult than it was last year to get, that idyllic condo. I like a few different bargain options that I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I like low density across the street. I also like single family. There isn't much in the way of single family in the rental pool in Panama City Beach. It's a little different. But those Golf View condos, unfortunately, you could get into a bidding war and it's going to be a full retail situation. So just be prepared for that. And, the bargain that the Gulf Front condo in Panama City Beach of the past is harder to find in this current market in 2022. All right, the fourth con is the tightening of conventional condo financing. Fannie Mae is one of the entities that backs condo financing, and I know that they really tighten their criteria to limit some of the projects that are more focused to short-term rental investments. If they have an on-site rental office, if they have timeshares in the building, if the majority of owners are short-term rental investors, it's going to be tough for that project to qualify. And you have to go for a little bit more of an aggressive portfolio loan from a local lender. There are some great portfolio lenders, but really that conventional condo financing, 30-year fixed at a low rate is ideal. I'm not saying it's impossible. Just make sure you're working with a lender that's familiar with the local landscape, that does a lot of conventional condo loans. They'll be able to tell you the recent projects that they were able to get approved. But it's tightening a little bit. It's not impossible, but definitely I would recommend not working with your buddy back home. Go start a dialogue with a local realtor in Panama City Beach that knows local lenders that deal in conventional condo financing. They'll be able to get you on the right path to find a condo that could potentially qualify for a conventional condo loan. I hope I didn't scare you off with all those cons. There's some definite advantages to owning a condo in Panama City Beach in 2022. And we're going to start with inflation again. I hate inflation. Why we got to talk about it again? But so we're talking about buying a physical asset that cash flows and possibly mortgaging that asset, leveraging it. There's something that we like to look at, so that you should be talking to your agent with if you're considering a purchase in Panama City Beach. That's looking at the rental production of the condo, looking at the expenses, figuring out a net number, looking at your debt service as far as what's the mortgage going to cost you a year, and then a metric that I like to share when I'm doing my analysis with clients is the cash on cash return, whether that's by actual rental numbers or potentially another unit of similar features such as Golf View, 2 bedrooms. What did that produce last year? And then we roll that into this analysis to produce something called cash on cash return. And that'll be a good idea, kind of pin that against inflation. Owning an appreciating asset that cash flows, that has a solid cash on cash return, excellent hedge against inflation. All right, we're getting on to pro number 2, and that is some of the tax advantages. So namely, there's obviously some expense components. You could start an LLC, you could claim your trips coming down, vacation all of a sudden becomes a tax write-off. That's kind of some cool stuff. You're essentially creating a small business when you purchase a vacation rental. But one thing that I really like is depreciation, especially if you're a multiple unit owner. That really stacks up to kind of cut down some of your taxable income and putting you in a better net situation each year. All right, moving on to Pro 3. So I know I told you that inventory in some circumstances is pretty low in these parts, but I'll tell you, I actually worked with my cousin who's in Tampa, and she helped some of my past clients try to purchase in the Largo area, and they did not have a good time. The inventory is super scarce there, specifically in the single family home realm of things. And I think that's across the board, especially if it can be on a short-term rental program. Investors are eating homes up down there as fast as they can list them. So with that said, In Panama City Beach, it can be a pretty high dense area depending on what part of the beach you're in. I know just in my neck of the woods at Lake Town Wharf, there's 21 stories, 780 units. Across the street at Shores of Panama, there's 23 stories. So that's a lot of units in a, I think there's 780 units there too. A lot of units in a small area of the beach. But with that said, I do feel there's much more opportunities in Panama City Beach than other areas of Florida, just because it's a higher density area. It also is a lower cost area, so you may have a better time finding something that cash flows and is producing that cash on cash to really, help you fight inflation and, keep your money working for you. So I think there are some abundant opportunities. We are at record low inventory, but there's still opportunities on the beach. So this is the simple last advantage, and it might blow your mind, it might not, but I was a long-term rental investor myself, and you never, unless you're inspecting the property annually, you never really get to see the property. But the advantage of having a short-term rental, that's beautiful and on sugar white sands and everything like that, you can utilize it yourself. You can block it off for 6 months. You can use it during spring break. You can use it a couple weeks a year. I know we used our condo for my wife's sister's baby shower, and we had the whole family down there, and we did the gender reveal on the beach. If I did not own the condo, we'd be doing it in a house or some event area somewhere. So having the condo is nice. And even though we live here, we have a house here, we still utilize our condo as a meeting spot or accommodations for out-of-state family members. And I think it just has such a high utility, and it's definitely worth consideration. So I love Panama City Beach. The landscape across the country has changed. Panama City Beach is not immune to it. But there's still some definite advantage to owning a condo, specifically with, how tough and uncertain the markets are right now. I think that, going to basics, owning a piece of real estate where there's a high demand for rental guests to come visit this beautiful area, I think it's a sound bet. And I think, I put those cons out there just to be mindful of some of the pitfalls and to maybe do a little more due diligence and not get yourself in a bad situation. My name is Eric Leitten with Real Broker in Panama City Beach and beyond. My brand is Emerald Coast Abode. That's the name of this channel. I help buyers and sellers on the Emerald Coast. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and my contact information is in the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm a realtor. My phone is always on. If you have a question about real estate in Panama City Beach or any project specific that you have in mind, give me a call. I'd be happy to talk with you about it. Hope you're having an awesome day, and stay tuned. There'll be more videos.